You're one decision away from a completely different life. And the scary part is, you already know what that decision is. You've known it for a long time. It's been sitting in the back of your mind, showing up in quiet moments, whispering to you when everything gets still. That one thing you keep avoiding, that one move you keep delaying, that one action you know would change everything. But you keep pushing it away like it's optional, like it doesn't matter, like you have time. But you don't. And deep down, you know that. Because every day you wake up and feel it, that tension, that frustration, that quiet voice telling you, this isn't it. This isn't the life you imagined. This isn't the version of you that you know you're capable of becoming. And yet, you stay. You stay in the same routine, the same habits, the same mindset that's keeping you stuck. Why? Because that one decision, it's uncomfortable. It's scary. It requires you to step into something uncertain. It requires you to let go of the version of you that feels safe. And most people would rather stay comfortable in a life they hate than risk stepping into a life they actually want. That's the truth. You're not stuck because you don't have options. You're stuck because you're afraid to choose. Because choosing means responsibility. Choosing means you can't blame anyone else anymore. Choosing means you have to show up differently, think differently, act differently every single day. And that's where people fold. That's where they hesitate. That's where they say, I'll do it later. Later. That word has ruined more lives than failure ever could, because later feels harmless. It feels safe. It feels like you're not saying no, you're just delaying. But delay is a silent killer. Every time you say later, you're not postponing your life, you're slowly destroying it. You're training yourself to avoid change. You're reinforcing the habit of hesitation. You're building a version of yourself that talks about change but never actually moves. And over time, that becomes who you are. Not someone who acts, someone who waits. And waiting feels comfortable until it doesn't. Until one day, you look around and realize nothing has changed. You're in the same place, with the same problems, the same mindset, the same frustration. And that's when it hits you the realization that time didn't stop. You did. Life kept moving, opportunities came and went. Chances passed you by, and you stayed still. Not because you couldn't move, but because you wouldn't decide. That's the cost of indecision. It doesn't look dramatic. It doesn't feel like a big mistake. It just quietly steals your potential one day at a time. And the worst part? You're aware of it. You feel it. You know you're capable of more. You know there's a different version of you out there. One that's stronger, more focused, more disciplined, more in control. But that version requires a decision. A real one. Not a maybe, not a someday. A now. And that's what you've been avoiding. Because making that decision means change. Real change. Not just thinking differently, living differently. It means waking up and doing things you don't feel like doing. It means letting go of habits that feel good but hold you back. It means stepping into discomfort every single day without knowing if it will pay off immediately. That's scary. That's why you hesitate. That's why you stay where you are. Because even though it's not what you want, it's familiar. And the mind will always choose familiar over unknown, even if the familiar is fucking miserable. That's how people stay stuck for years. Not because they're weak, but because they never make that one decision. The one that breaks the pattern. The one that changes direction. The one that forces them to grow. And here's the truth you need to hear. That decision is not big. It's not some massive, life-altering moment where everything changes overnight. It's small. It's quiet. It's a simple shift in behavior. But it's consistent. It's repeated. It's followed through. That's what makes it powerful. It's deciding to stop making excuses. It's deciding to do the work even when you don't feel like it. It's deciding to show up for yourself every single day without negotiation. That's it. That's the difference between the life you have and the life you want. One decision, repeated daily, but you keep treating it like it's optional, like it's something you can come back to later. And that's why nothing changes. Because you're waiting for a moment that doesn't exist. A moment where you feel ready, where everything makes sense, where the fear disappears. That moment never comes. There's always doubt. There's always resistance. There's always a reason to wait. And if you keep listening to those reasons, you'll be waiting forever. That's the trap, and you're in it right now. You're stuck between knowing what to do and not doing it. And that space, that's where frustration lives. That's where regret starts building. Because every day you don't act, you're proving to yourself that you can't trust your own decisions. You're breaking your own word. You're telling yourself, I'll do it, and then not doing it. And that destroys confidence. That destroys self-respect. Because how can you believe in yourself if you don't follow through? How can you trust your future if you don't act in the present? You can't. That's why you feel stuck. Not because of your situation, but because of your actions, or lack of them. And until that changes, nothing else will. Not your environment, not your results, not your life. It all comes back to one thing: decision. Real, committed, uncomfortable decision. The kind where you don't give yourself an out. The kind where you stop negotiating. The kind where you say, this is it, and actually mean it. Not just for today, not just for a week, but for real. And yeah, that's hard. It's supposed to be. Because the life you want is not built on easy decisions. It's built on hard ones. The ones you've been avoiding. The ones that require discipline, consistency, sacrifice. That's the price. And if you're not willing to pay it, then be honest with yourself. You don't want that life as much as you think you do. Because when you truly want something, you decide. You don't wait. You don't hesitate. You don't keep going back and forth. You commit, fully. And right now, you haven't done that yet. You're still in between. Still thinking, still delaying, still negotiating. And that's why you're stuck. But here's the good news. That can change instantly, not slowly, not eventually, instantly. With one decision. The same kind you've been avoiding. The same kind that scares you. The same kind that requires you to step into discomfort and stop playing it safe. That decision is available to you right now. Not tomorrow, not later, right now. The question is, are you finally going to make it? Or are you going to keep waiting until it's too late? Good. Because now we stop pretending that this is just about making a decision and start talking about what actually happens after you make it. Because that's where most people collapse. Anyone can say, I'm going to change. Anyone can feel that spark. That moment of clarity where everything seems obvious and you're ready to flip your life around. But that feeling? It's temporary. It fades faster than you think. And when it disappears, what's left is the real test. The work. The repetition, the uncomfortable, boring, frustrating grind that nobody posts about, nobody celebrates, and nobody warns you about. That's where your decision either becomes real or dies. Because a decision without action is just a fantasy. And if you're honest with yourself, you've lived in that fantasy before. You've had moments where you felt powerful, where you told yourself this is it, and for a few days, maybe even a week, you acted differently. You showed up, you pushed yourself, you felt like you were finally becoming that version of you. And then what happened? You got tired, you got distracted, you didn't feel like it one day. And instead of pushing through, you paused. Just one day. But that one day turned into 2, then 3. Then suddenly you're back to your old habits, your old mindset, your old life. That's the cycle you've been trapped in. Not because you can't change, but because you don't sustain the decision. You don't protect it. You treat it like a temporary emotion instead of a permanent standard. And that's why it keeps dying. Because real decisions are not emotional, they're behavioral. They show up in what you do when you don't feel like doing it. That's the difference. Anyone can act when they feel motivated. That's easy. But when that feeling disappears, when you wake up tired, when your mind is foggy, when everything in you is saying, skip today, that's when your decision is tested. And right now, you've been failing that test. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. You've been choosing comfort in those moments. You've been negotiating. I'll do it later. I just need a break. It's not that serious. And every time you say that, you weaken your own decision. You turn it into something optional, something flexible, something you can walk away from whenever it gets hard. And once your decision becomes negotiable, it's already dead. That's the brutal truth. Because the life you want doesn't come from half commitment. It doesn't come from trying. It comes from full execution, from doing what needs to be done every single day, regardless of how you feel. And that's where most people break, because they're not prepared for how boring it is. They think change is going to feel exciting, like some constant rush of motivation, but it's not. It's repetitive. It's dull. It's doing the same shit over and over again while your brain is screaming for something easier, something more fun, something more comfortable. And if you can't handle that, you'll quit. Just like you always have. That's why this isn't about hype. This isn't about getting you fired up for a moment. This is about forcing you to understand what it actually takes. Because once you see it clearly, you lose the right to make excuses. You can't say you didn't know. You can't say you weren't prepared. You know exactly what's required now. Discipline, consistency, relentless execution, and none of it feels good in the beginning. That's the part people don't want to accept. You're gonna feel like shit some days. You're gonna question yourself. You're going to wonder if it's even worth it. You're going to feel like you're putting in effort for nothing. That's normal. That's part of the process. But weak people interpret that as a sign to stop. They think, if it doesn't feel good, it must not be right. That's bullshit. Growth rarely feels good. Progress is uncomfortable. Change is painful. And if you're not willing to sit in that discomfort, you'll never get to the other side. That's the gap between you and the life you want. Not talent, not opportunity. Your tolerance for discomfort. And right now, your tolerance is low. You've trained yourself to escape the moment things get hard. That's why you're stuck. Because every time you get close to growth, you back off. Every time you feel resistance, you retreat. And that pattern has been controlling your life. But here's the part that should hit you hard. You can break that pattern at any moment. Not acts of discipline that go against your natural tendencies. And yeah, it's going to feel unnatural at first. It's going to feel forced. Because it is. You're rewiring yourself. You're breaking habits that you've built over years. That doesn't happen smoothly. It happens through friction, through resistance, through repetition. And that's why most people give up. They expect it to feel easy through that phase. If you keep going despite the discomfort, something shifts. You start to adapt. The things that felt impossible start to feel normal. The resistance weakens. The discipline strengthens. And suddenly, you're not forcing yourself anymore. You're just doing it. That's when you're identifying the person who lives it. But you have to earn that. You don't get that version of yourself for free. You build it through daily decisions, through showing up when it's hard, through refusing to go back to your old habits. And that's the part you've been missing. You keep trying to jump to the result without committing to the process. You want the confidence, the success, the respect, but you don't want the daily grind that creates it. And that's why you're frustrated. Because deep down, you know you're not doing enough. You know you're cutting corners. You know you're capable of more. And that awareness, it's heavy. It sits in your mind, reminding you of what you're not doing. And instead of facing it, you distract yourself. You scroll, you waste time, you avoid the work. But avoiding it doesn't make it go away. It just delays the inevitable. Because sooner or later, you're going to have to face the reality of your choices. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. That's why this moment matters. Right now. Not later, not tomorrow, now. Because you're either going to continue the same pattern, or you're going to break it. You're either going to protect your decision, or you're going to let it die like every other time. And if you let it die again, be honest with yourself. You're choosing this life. You're choosing to stay stuck. You're choosing to live below your potential. Because at this point, you know exactly what to do. The only question is, are you going to do it? This is it. This is the moment where everything either changes or it stays exactly the same. And the truth is, nothing I say right now will matter if you don't make this real. If you don't take everything you've felt everything you've realized, everything that's been hitting you in the chest this entire time, and actually turn it into action, because without action, all of this is just noise. Just another temporary feeling that fades the second you close this video and go back to your normal life. And that's exactly what's happened before, hasn't it? You felt this before. That fire, that clarity, that moment where everything makes sense and you tell yourself, I'm done living like this. And for a second, you actually believe it. But then nothing changes, because belief without action is useless. It's fucking useless. And that's the part you need to understand right now. Your life is not waiting for you to feel ready. It's moving with or without you. Every second, every minute, every day, time is passing. Opportunities are passing. Your potential is sitting there unused while you keep thinking instead of doing. And one day, if nothing changes, you're going to wake up and realize that you ran out of time to become the person you knew you could be. And that realization, that's not motivation. That's pain. Real pain. The kind that doesn't go away. The kind that sits in your chest and reminds you of every moment you chose comfort over growth. Every time you said later. Every time you avoided the decision that could have changed everything. And the worst part is, you'll know it was your fault, not your circumstances. Not other people, not bad luck. You, your choices, your hesitation, your fear of discomfort. That's what will haunt you. So if you feel something right now, if there's even a small part of you that's awake, that's tired of this cycle, tired of being stuck, tired of knowing you're capable of more but not doing anything about it, then this is your moment to end that shit completely. Not temporarily, not for a few days, not until it gets hard, but for real. Because the difference between the life you have and the life you want has always been one decision. But now you understand something deeper. It's not just making the decision once. It's living it every single day, especially when it's hard, especially when you don't feel like it, especially when everything in you is telling you to go back to what's easy. That's when your new life is either built or destroyed. That's the truth. Your future is not created in big moments. It's created in small, daily choices that nobody sees. The ones you've been avoiding, the ones you've been negotiating with, the ones you keep pushing to later. And if you keep doing that, nothing changes. You stay the same person with the same problems, living the same life, and deep down, you already know that's not what you want. You can feel it. You can feel that there's more in you, more strength, more discipline, more focus, more potential. But potential means nothing if you don't act on it. It's just wasted energy, wasted time, wasted life. And the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards execution. It rewards the people who show up and do the work, even when it sucks, even when it's boring, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Those are the people who win. Not because they're special, but because they're consistent, because they don't stop, because they made a decision and refused to break it. And that's what you need to become. Someone who doesn't go back. Someone who doesn't negotiate. Someone who doesn't care how it feels. Only what needs to be done. Because once you reach that level, once you become that person, everything changes. Your mindset shifts. Your confidence grows. Your results follow. And suddenly, the life that felt impossible starts becoming real. Not overnight, not magically, but through daily effort, through discipline, through showing up again and again and again until it becomes who you are. But none of that happens unless you act now, not later, not after this video, not when you feel ready, because you're never going to feel ready. There's always going to be doubt, always going to be fear, always going to be resistance. And if you keep waiting for that to disappear, you're going to be waiting forever. So stop waiting, stop thinking, stop overanalyzing, and just move. Take one action, one real step toward the life you want. Something uncomfortable, something you've been avoiding, something that proves to yourself that this time is different. Because that's how you break the cycle. Not with words, not with plans, but with action. Immediate, uncomfortable, undeniable action. And then you repeat it tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, until it becomes your standard, until it becomes automatic, until you don't even recognize the old version of yourself anymore. The one who hesitated, the one who quit, the one who stayed stuck. That version disappears the moment you stop feeding it. The moment you stop choosing comfort. The moment you stop delaying your life. And yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna suck. You're gonna feel tired. You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to have days where you question everything. But that's part of it. That's the price. And if you're not willing to pay it, then be honest. You don't want that life bad enough. Because the people who actually change, the people who actually win, they don't wait for it to feel good. They don't wait for motivation. They don't care how hard it is. They just do it over and over again until the results show up, and they will show up. If you don't quit, that's the only guarantee you need. But you have to earn it every single day through your actions, through your discipline, through your refusal to go back. And that's what this comes down to right now. Are you finally going to make that decision real? Or are you going to walk away from this and go back to your old life like nothing happened? Because that choice is happening right now, not later, not tomorrow, right now. And whatever you choose, that's who you become.